Hey guys, Eric and Donnie here with Performance Golf, joined with Sir Nick Faldo. Sir Nick, thank you for being here with us. We've got the U.S. Open coming up here at Pinehurst this upcoming week, and would love to talk a little bit about Pinehurst, your history with the U.S. Opens. I think some fascinating things that I watched recently and rewatched of some of your U.S. Open history. I think let's start with that first, and then we'll kind of dig into Pinehurst, if that's okay.
Yeah, and I want to know, what type of player does it take? What do they have to do to win on that golf course? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it's a fun golf course for us to watch.
It's a great golf course. It's really demanding. It's the scariest chipping of any, because they're all saucers, wasn't it? There's 17 of them go that way, isn't it? And the 17th greens, I think there's two. I know the 17th green goes that way. There's two saucers, and there's upturned saucers or trash cans going the other way. They are brute. They are the scariest. The only time you ever chip and think, I can miss the green. How do I keep it on the green? I mean, you're doing it literally every time. And if you miss the green, it doesn't just roll off 1 yard. It goes way down there. You can miss the green by 30 yards. You're on the side of a green, get your chipping wrong. Scariest chipping probably in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it could be a disaster. Well, hell with it. Let's start with the golf course.
Yeah.
Pinehurst.
Let's go there. Yeah.
Let's roll right into the golf course.
That's a great warm-up.
Pinehurst number 2. Obviously, Sir Nick, there are a couple of highlights that would come up for people. 1999, Payne Stewart, Phil Mickelson, obviously legendary event. 05, Michael Campbell beats Tiger. And then in 2014, Martin Kaymer by 8 shots, all at Pinehurst number 2. You mentioned the chipping thing there, Sir Nick. But just some things for people to look at and some things about the golf course that you remember for Pinehurst number 2 that are going to give the players some challenges this week, things for us to look out for.
Well, it's a beautiful golf course. It's through the pine forest, so you're on sand belt. It's the closest thing probably to the true sand belt down in Melbourne, Australia. When they get it firm and fast with all those undulations, as I said, the golf ball can go off a wandering. You can hit a nice tee shot, and you can roll off into a little blowout, down the side of the fairways. Got to get lucky with your lie there. You can either be sitting up perfectly, or you're in an old heel print, or you're up against one of those little wind bushes sort of things. And then feeding into those greens, there's so much going on in the front. There's little knolls and lumps and bumps, and obviously hole locations are close to those, and there's all sorts of false, not even just false edges, false half a blooming green. You can knock it up, you think it's good. I think it's like that 5th hole. Did anybody hit the 5th all week? There's like 12 guys kept their ball on that hole for the whole week. And we were hitting 5 irons into it back in those days. So, there's all of that really stressful. So I like a guy who hits a nice low runny tee shot. Just get it on the ground and scoot it down there. And then you've got to be very smart in where you land your second shots. Can't always go straight at the flag. It's where's my fattest chunk of the green to land it and stop it. Very sensible. And then, then around the green, very interesting decision Martin Kaymer made, like, I'm putting everything. Not such a bad thing. I think it's, as I described, so scary. If you miss-hit a chip shot, because the greens are super fast as well, they've got a ton of undulation. And all these greens have a lot of roller. As I said, 16 of them go that way. So anytime you go a little long, 6-8 feet past the flag, whoosh, it's off, gone, off the green, and then it will continue. And then, of course, you've got to come back and do the whole blooming thing again. So I found those really stressful. And so maybe find one club, and that putter would be, I think there'll be a lot of guys taking that strategy. And just because you can practice till the cows come home everywhere, keep throwing balls off the green and get some kind of touch, so at least you feel like you can get good weight, because nothing worse than miss-hitting something and it's coming back down the hill. So I think that's a great strategy, and it's quite a pressure-packed golf course, because one false little slip and you can end up in a rotten lie and a couple of whacks in the dust. very easy to take it and roll off the green as well. Very easy to take a quick 6 or 7 at the wrong time on that course.
It's Donald Ross, right? Pinehurst?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. And then with the way the green structures are like that, are you able to, into the holes to land it short and hop up if the conditions?
Yeah, but there was so much going on. I like for like the second hole. There's a angle green, but there's a big mound right front middle of the green. And there's a green, sort of like it's like there, and they put the flag right behind it. So if you land anywhere near that thing, ba-doing, it goes off in any direction. So it's not so straightforward. Oh, I'll land it 20 yards short and just feed it in. It would not feed in because it's so mounded. You're trying to feed in and catch one of these edges. Well, off it goes. So they're not giving you much yardage, to work with as little channels into the greens. So that's what makes it so tricky. To obviously, now the guys, of course, are hitting it so much further. It's as I said, we were trying to hit 5 and 4 irons into these greens. Well, sure, very difficult. Now, if they're pounding it down, then they get some run, and it becomes a less than 9 iron game. Well, then sure, there's a greater chance you can land it on your spot. So, not sure how they will set it up, but that golf course, like a few links courses, even under perfect weather, could stand the test of time. Could still be really tough to play.
It's funny because when I watch Pinehurst on TV, I'm like, oh, it doesn't look that hard off the tee. Like it doesn't look that hard on TV. Yeah. I've never
Looks
played
like
there.
open.
Does it set up visually where it doesn't look, it's like deceiving?
Yeah, no, you're right. The fairways look a little generous, but they're so fast and running, and they would just feed off. So not quite as easy. You turn a tee shot, you think it's all right. If you turn a nice draw on the win, you get one big hop. Your first hop might be 20 yards. Well, that's more than half of the fairway and that's when you run out. And just running into the natural sand, you're running the risk of getting a decent lie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's also a side note. I was in Pinehurst the first time, I think a year or two ago. I didn't realize while the golf courses are there, there's nothing going on. Have you ever been there before?
No, I haven't been there.
So it's like a very quiet, small, not what I had built up in my head. Kind of like a boring place, to be honest with you. Very cool golf.
Oh yeah, it's just a hotel and 8 golf courses.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, that sounds like a dream, not boring.
It's good for golf.
You just go for golf. You just go for that's it. It's golf, and more golf. Simple as that.
Yeah. And if I was looking for some nightlife or something, but in terms of some of the big things that I would think of within Pinehurst, anything that comes to mind or memories, Sir Nick, around, and then I want to get into your U.S. Opens, but 99, Payne Stewart and Phil Mickelson. Were you playing that year at Pinehurst?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, that was pretty historic. I mean, unfortunately, dreadful what happened to Payne. So, that was an iconic moment he had, holding that putt and the style he held it and everything. That was a true great battle between those two guys. That was, again, it was sort of that end of that era, 90s. That was back in the time of strategy golf. Landing those, as I was saying, I remember Payne in a lot of mid-irons into those greens. And it's quite a skill to keep churning those shots out time after time.
Yeah, gosh. And for those that don't know, the famous pose on the end, right, with Payne Stewart with the arm out, that's the statue that's there. I think let's talk a little bit about your U.S. Opens, Sir Nick. Obviously, you played in a couple. Do you remember back to the first U.S. Open you played in?
Yeah, I played the 84 Winged Foot, and I got in that because I was number 1 in Europe. That's the only way you could, well, unless you'd come over a qualifying, but that was pretty rare in those sort of days. But so, to all these youngsters complaining that their world ranking doesn't get them in a major, hard luck. No sympathy here, mate. Number 1 in Europe to get in. And I arrived there and I played the week before at Westchester, and it was a freaking heat wave. Never forget, because it was, when you get that stifling, suppressive heat up there in New York region. Oh my God, that was hard work. Days of 90 degrees, really heavy air. So, okay when you're used to it, but when you've come over from Europe, we're not used to that. So anyway, I play with Jack. I played practice round with Jack. And I tell you, this will knock your socks off. We went up the first, and Jack gets out a little crumpled old scorecard of Winged Foot, and first hole it said, oak tree left, bunker right, 145 or whatever it was. And his yardages were on a single little scorecard. Not like now when they've got an encyclopedia in their back pocket, And I thought, I think that was the start of yardages. How did you do your yardages on a golf course? We had to walk it. People, we didn't realize. And you did it old school when you went down and went back a bunker in line with tree. So you got your line and off you walked. So you had to be damn good at walking 100 yards. I mean, you needed to nail it. And then you wrote down whatever said in your back a bunker, 165. And that was it, length of green. And you wrote that a little bit more, and you might have a line. You might draw a line across, say there's a tier at 16, up with a little arrow, and back a depth of green 35. Done. That was your yardage book back in the day. So, but that was a tough goal because Winged Foot, oh my goodness, that one when, again, that was the way that was set up. That was a brute, really was. I mean, if you missed the fairways there, and great golf course, obviously, but boy, it took about a mental beat you up on. By the time you get to the back nine, if you were not playing well, it just pummeled your shoulders into the ground.
And Winged Foot's famously supposed to be one of the most difficult layouts, right, of all the U.S. Opens.
Yeah.
84, first year. Welcome
home.
Well, it is. It's old school, big greens that have got humps in them. I mean, there's very few hole locations. I've still got old yardage books from I did the U.S. Open for TV a couple of years back, and when you go out on the green and you see where's the hole locations? They're steep, old school. When you got 4% slope, and when they're running up 13, well, that's all unpinnable.
And then so from 84 Winged Foot, the next U.S. Open, then we're looking at what, 1988?
Was it? Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right, because I didn't get anything apart from the Open, because when I went through my swing change, I didn't even in '87. I didn't even get in Augusta. Yeah, I didn't even. Yes, it's right. That's when I turned my game around. Of course, it is. That's the whole story. Yeah, probably '86 didn't get in. 87 I wasn't even in Augusta. Now, obviously, when the Open, that's when I was going through the swing change, all that sort of thing. Yeah, so we go to 88. We go to Brookline, and I really enjoyed that. And that golf course was such a great old classic. And I was working. It's funny. I was working on a move with David Ledbetter just to get my whole swing was all around my right hip. Funny that. It's probably where I damaged it a million years ago. Started I'm paying for the price for belting all those drives over 250, or thrashing them. Yeah, going for it. So yeah, it was funny. I used to stand up and just suck my right hip back, get my swing moving. I remember that. And I honestly, I had a crazy stat, which I thought was just a fantasy. I believe I'd only missed 4 fairways in the whole week.
In the 88 Open, you missed 4 fairways the whole week?
Something and it sounds ludicrous, but somebody blurted that out when we went back for Matt Fitzpatrick. I was doing TV. Somebody blurted out because it's got stats, and it's very close to. I'm not telling a lie. I don't know an exact number, but it was something as ridiculous as that. I was just down the fairway, all that. And it was a different ball game. I just and I remember I had a ping putter, because Seve's winning everything with a blooming ping, so I thought I better use myself a ping answer. And this thing it was like rock. It wasn't great, and I putted terrible. I couldn't hold a thing. I came down that last hole, and we into the sun, and remember that drive. I hit a 4-iron into that green, not an 8-iron out of the bunker. 4-iron into that green. I hit about 20 feet right of the flag, even pin high, amazing. And God, I had that putt, and I looked at it, and I said to my caddy, "What do you think?" I said, "It looks really like right edge. That's all it looks like, right edge." And he said, "Yeah, maybe give it a ball more." So I gave it a ball more, and guess what it missed by? Bloody half a ball. So, sod it. So, and obviously then we went to the playoff with Curtis, and that was really weird. That was bad. That was like no atmosphere. They were taking the bloody stands down while we were playing.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, it was honest. It was just like, oh, well, 2 golfers with a few people with, and to be honest, I couldn't get in. Just obviously didn't play great, didn't feel great.
What was the playoff format back then?
For 18, good old days. Earn your pennies.
18 the next day.
That's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so wild.
Full 18 on the Monday. So that was that's what they hated. It was the loss of atmosphere and so I think I only had one shirt left, a yellow shirt. Only one shirt left that was clean. So I wore yellow, which I deemed weak. Yellow wasn't my color, unless it was cashmere.
Less cashmere.
So, yeah, it just didn't feel comfortable. So it wasn't, I guess you should turn the clock back and say, kick yourself up the backside and say, just in case you don't get another chance. So yeah, that was a little disappointing. And I ran back, flew back. I actually won the French Open. Don't know how I did that. That's a Monday. Must have flown out Monday night. Got back, went to Paris, won the French Open. Straight after that one.
4 fairways.
Yeah.
We can run away from that.
A couple of things I want to double down on there. I watched the last round, the final round last night, and you didn't miss a fairway. 0 missed fairways the final round, I'm pretty sure. I think you hit every single one.
Oh, there you go. I got 4 for the other 3 rounds, so maybe I did.
Yeah. Did not miss a fairway the final round. And on the atmosphere thing, when I was watching, Donna, you should watch this, and you guys listening should watch this back. It's so fun. On 18, it looked like the atmosphere was so wide. And this is, for those listening, this is at Brookline, Massachusetts. This is in Boston. This is where Fitzpatrick won, right? On coming up the 18th hole, the crowd was going nuts. I mean, they were like, I think they were in front of you guys walking up to the green.
Yeah, you're right. I think they came in. You're right.
There was like no ropes right there.
That Boston crowd is the best.
It was crazy. So when they were on the last hole, there was an unbelievable amount of people, just everywhere like that. So to go from that the night before to what he's saying the next day, that's going to be a crazy, crazy trap. Didn't miss a fairway.
It was weird. Yeah.
And then even beyond there, Sir Nick, to double down on that too, I got the Sir Nick stats here next to me.
I love that.
We have the U.S. Open second. Here's the next couple major finishes. You guys ready for this one? So I'm sure I got this right. 88 U.S. Open. Here's the next couple major finishes. 3rd, 5th, 1st, 18th, 11th, 9th, 1st, 3rd, 1st. So we followed up pretty good after that tournament.
Year and a half run.
Yeah, it was a good percentage. I mean, I won 5 majors out of 25.
Yeah, not bad.
So, from 87 to 92.
Pretty darn good.
Pretty damn good. That's a hell of a percentage in majors, isn't it? Jeez. So, so after that, we'd obviously get to 1990, which was another one at Medina when, I'd won the Open, won the Masters, going there, and I, for some reason, can't remember why, I couldn't hit a driver. Driving wasn't great, so good old days, we went with a 1-iron everywhere, and I couldn't care less the fact that I was 40 yards or behind the other guys. I played it that way, and and cut a long story short, came to the final. I know I 3-putted. I think I might have even putted 3-putted 16, which was really bad timing. And then I came to the last, needed a birdie to tie, and I had I was sure I had 1-iron and a 6-iron into about 20 plus feet. Blooming putt hit my putt did a Wyndham Clark, went in the hole and out, I think. So it was Halo in Mike Donald. I think Hale won with shooting a 73 or a 4. And it's like, ouch, if I had been in that, I think I could have won that one. So, yeah, that was
Yeah, you were 72, 72, 68, 69 that week.
yeah, that was a shame. That was another one that was really close. I was Mr. Consistent that week. So, what else? And then we went to 92 at Pebble. My goodness, that was brutal because that was when the USGA struggled to set up the golf course. Day one, we come to the first hole. You hit 9 on the first. Doing over the back of the green. Seriously. Next day, 9 on the front of the green. Come back. What? Next day, 9 over the green. And they let the greens go. They were like, what's your worst? They were like a wheat biscuit. They were just rough as a graham cracker. If you took your graham cracker and crunched it and burnt it out and put it on the green, that's it. Imagine burning poana grass. You know what it goes like? It goes all kind of ridgy and ripply. Gee whiz, they were brutal to putt. And that was the Tom Kite one. So all I remember is that, Tom Kite he chipped in on the 7th, didn't he, for a 2. We were chipping. I think we were chipping a 5 or a 6 iron on that day, 110 yards. Yeah, and I took a double. So I remember when they were like, oh, Tom Kite made a 2, and I think, 5. So I was in it. I was kind of close until that happened. So yeah, that's most of my right. But I learned a lot that week. That was a really cool, in paying forward we started working on different hand actions. You like this, different hand actions through the ball, and so we called one. So I was into the wind. We called it the bunt, where I literally let my right wrist go, and let it go through like that. Instead, normally I would go through hold off there, but I would let it go, and I could get a little bit of a stinger. So with anything, so just if I needed one to just penetrate a little bit more, I called this the bunt. So you let the right wrist go and then finish kind of soft arms here, and it had a little bit of sting. So that was the start of learning a couple of shots before we got to Muirfield in 92. And I, stepped it up a bit more on a few more shots that particular week. So, you have to take your knowledge from your experiences, don't you? That's basically an adapt. And as we always keep say on TV, maybe you'll be a better golfer next week. Well, another 2 months later, I was a better golfer. Yeah.
Was the weather a big factor that year at Pebble? The scores looked like they were high, then they were super low, then they were super high.
Yeah, it was windy. As I said, no, seriously, we were chipping 5s and 6 irons down the 7th. So there was a lot of wind. And I think guys might have even been hitting driver into 17 the odd day. Because, we went back to the Jack's 1 iron tee.
Straight back into the teeth.
Yeah, it was tough. I don't remember any fog. We had fog when Tiger won in 2000. Had a lot of fog, didn't we? But yeah, pretty windy. Firm greens, windy.
That golf course changes so much over the day. Like those greens, it's crazy.
So you go out there and play every year.
Yeah, we play in that tailor-made Pebble Beach tournament every year, and it's like play in the morning, great. Afternoon, you're putting over like the mounds of Poana.
Oh yeah, you can luck out with the weather there. Obviously, you're right on the water, so you're going to get tide changes, and you can get a nice easy run, or it's just brutal. And yeah, in Poana, by the end of the day, when you've had 156 footprints all over it, it's hard work.
I had my moment this year. We played with Chris DeMarco. I made 5 birdies on the front 9, 5 under on the front 9. That was pretty deep when the team needed it.
Yeah.
We started on the back.
Another guy who played good at Pebble, I thought was interesting to go from when 92 to 2000, right? Where Tiger, maybe one of the best major performances of all time. He wins by 15 shots, 12 under to 3 over. That had to be fascinating as well. Sir Nick, you brought up before when you were playing 88 U.S. Open about the pull the right hip back and feel the hands around. Just out of curiosity for myself and the average golfer watching, when you're playing that week, is that like a swing thought you're using every shot all week? Every shot all week?
Yeah, probably. I had one main theme, especially with the longer clubs. Yeah, I think that's really what I thought about with the driver off the tee. I think that seemed to be the key. Probably, as I sit here now, I'm not too sure if it was a major focus on the shorter irons, but definitely on the long clubs. Get that right. That seemed to be the key. Suck that right hip back. As long as you keep your right knee in the right place, that was very key.
And then I'm curious about this. Would you feel that same thing? And let's say you had to like hit a draw, cut high, low, you'd feel that and then still like hit a shot.
That was still the main. I think that was just the main backswing thought to get things moving. That was my key bit to get it started. Suck the right hip, kind of got things round. I guess we were still working on, obviously, the rotation of the arms, and then
missed 4 fairways all week.
Yeah.
Where are we? What are we saying? This is 89. This is 80. Yeah, 88. This is early days. This is early days of really learning how. I was probably a little bit one-dimensional then, I guess, because I know in 89 I really stepped up this fade draw. Like I go on the range, and I honestly hit every ball
back and forth. Yeah.
As Trevino said, I never hit 2 balls the same. I did that. I hit a little fade, little draw, little fade. And when you get really...
Before that, you were primarily a fade, right?
Primarily, yeah, if you had to put a gun to my head. But when you're doing it that much, I got good enough to do it. I'm doing this all the time. Fade, draw. And I played great that year. 89 is when I started playing really good. I had about 8 seconds that year in tournaments. I couldn't... Obviously, 89, I won the Masters. I think I won the Volvo Masters at the end of the season, like bookends. In between, I had a stupid number of seconds or something like that. But yeah, that's when I really, like I've been describing to you guys, when they tuck a ball flag around the corner behind the bunkers, or in a little corner of a green, if you can tip it and get inside, around the 15-foot circle because you're good enough, where the other guy fades in, the best he can do is 35 feet, which we know the difference in stats or percentage of making a putt from 15 feet to 30 feet is huge. Massive number, isn't it? Massive number. One's holeable and the other one's half a chance, less than half a chance. So that's when I really took my game up a notch or two in that particular year. Yeah.
And in terms of hitting the curves, I'm curious too, like let's say for us Joe Schmoes, a lot of amateur golfers might hear that and, kind of go out to the range and hit some different shots and stuff. And I think for learning purposes, that could be tremendous. An amateur golfer, do you think there's some value in them learning to be one-dimensional? Where like, hey, I know the ball is going to curve just this way. Or do you think even, hey, someone who's, to curve all of them?
Yeah, I personally think people get too stuck with, so this is the way I play and that's it. They got their little whatever. And I think, I believe that golfers are smart enough, just with a little bit of help, you put a club down so you know where you're going, and then get your ball position right so you know where, and just experiment with ball position. That's going to be a good, you'd know that, good start. If his ball's a little too far forward, look what's happened to my shoulders straight away. Where do you think it's going to go? It's going left. It either goes left with a square or shut face, or if I open the face, it's sliced. Okay, let's go back the other way. If the ball's then before centre, look what's happened to my shoulders straight away. Different arc. So I'm either square face, going in to out, I can hit a draw. Or I open the face and I block the darn thing. Or maybe that's what you want to learn. So I think people don't understand enough about, as simply as I explained, that little bit of movement and what it does to the arc and how to learn from it. Because if you, as we know, you move the ball back, only you don't have to move it back one ball. It's not this much. Just move it back one ball, and that will make enough difference in our game through impact to make something different happen up there. And I think that's what a lot of golfers just get so stuck. I just do the same. I'm happy with that. And learning to experiment, I think that's when a good coach, that's when it's worth it. Go and spend a few bucks and, get your pro to have a look at you, stick you on film. That's a great thing. Even on your blooming phone now, you can start to see the difference. Or even looking at your divot line as well. It's another important thing, isn't it? How do you, if there's no golf ball there, and suddenly you say hit a divot to the right, put something in front of you and hit a divot right of the bag, and hit a divot left of it. What have you physically got to do? That's a great little learning curve as well, because, as we call it, find a way. If you've been doing this all your life, well, this feels very exaggerated. Well, guess what? Go for it. See what happens. Experiment. I think that's the fun of being on the range. Go and experiment.
Love it. You got to try some new things to learn some new things. And you can go to performancegolf.com for that coaching if you guys do want to check some coaching out. Like, that would be fine.
Yeah, or the app. I mean, you talk about being able to do it on your phone. I mean, you go to the Performance Golf app now, you can film your swing, and the AI will tell you what you're doing wrong and then give you the videos to help work on it.
Is it a nice voice on your AI?
We should get Sir Nick in there.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, it's not an AI.
Donnie's dulcet tones telling you what you're doing wrong.
No, it's not an AI voice either. It's actually it's a program. We've programmed the AI with 3D motion sensor capture cameras to film the swing, identify like 17 data points in your swing, and then it gives you the top 4 priorities. So like if your grip is messed up, obviously your grip is going to be number 1. You click on that section, and then it'll take you in to videos that'll explain what's wrong and then give you a couple drills to work on the grip. So we're getting good feedback on the app. People like it.
Yes, go ahead. If you guys want to check that out, we'll link that down below. Anything else, guys, in terms of U.S. Open? Pinehurst #2. I think, like all the major championships, we're going to be pumped to sit back and watch these guys.
Sir Nick, what's one, I think I asked you this in another episode and we got some great comments on, what's one juicy U.S. Open story that you might not have told before that we would, I like the juicy stories.
The behind the scenes, Sir Nick.
What? You don't need any warning. You remember these things.
I've got a thing. I'm just in '84. How did we swing the practice round with Jack Nicklaus?
How did the practice rounds work? Do they set you up with your
are you automatically with him or?
Oh, I played at '84. I was brave enough to ask Jack in 1980 at Muirfield. Yeah, he's just won the Open. He's walking towards me, and I went, "Oh, you got to do it. You got to." So I said, "Any chance we could play a practice?" And Jack was always great. He said, "Yeah, sure." And I'm like, "Oh, great." So I saw a photograph. The great thing about social media now is that I saw a photograph of it last week, and we were on the range, and I played with Andy North versus Jack and Tom Watson. How about that? At Muirfield. So that was really, so the funniest part of that, nothing to do with the golf, was it was slow. Of course, it's slow. And so after 4 or 5 holes, we see an ice cream van. So Andy North goes, "Who wants an ice cream?" So we have an ice cream. So 4 ice creams. You see it, and a few holes later, see another ice cream van. So I say, "Who wants an ice cream?" "Yeah, have an ice cream." So we'll have another ice cream. Another few holes later, Jack sees an ice cream. "Who wants some ice cream?" "We'll have another ice cream." And then we all went, "Watson, your turn to buy." And he said, "Don't want one now." we had 3 ice creams on the way around. Mr. Whippy's, probably with 99, with a flake in it. So, you like this, but I beat Jack, and I actually played with him in the first 2 rounds. Then at the Open, and I beat him for 20 quid. He walked on the first tee and gave me 20 quid. And idiot, I should have said, "Can you mind signing that?" and I'll keep that for life, and didn't. And the funny bit was Watson beat Andy North out of 40 quid, and Andy went down the bank and got 40 British pounds in 1 pence pieces, 1 piece. So he weighed whatever, 10 pounds of coins, and stuck it in his locker. It's yet 40 quid of 1 pence pieces in his locker. So that was quite funny. So that was so anyway. I digress. So I must have plucked up courage to say, I guess just saw him. I have no idea, and off we went and played. So how cool is that to play with Jack in a practice? I mean, I loved that because, boy, you learn. I wish you could. I mean, I would. I wish if I had known better. If you just walk behind Jack and Arnold just for a couple of weeks and just observe, boy, you would have learned a lot in that era, wouldn't you? That would have been a good lesson for a young lad, just to suck it all in, take it all in, everything that's going on and off the golf course. It would have been a great lesson.
We were at a dinner at Jack's house in down here in South Florida a few weeks ago, sitting in his office, just looking at these trophies and listening to him talk. Like I don't know if I said more than like 5 words the whole evening, just listening. I mean, sharp as a tack, remembers, like Sir Nick recalls the stories.
Oh, I know. He goes back even more, doesn't he? Oh, well, yeah.
He remembers the story. Oh, he remembers them.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I interviewed Jack a couple of Christmases ago, 2 Christmases ago, whatever. And my opening question was, because I was timing of our meeting, I said, have you ever been late on the tee? And he goes, 1953, I would, and I'm like, what? Nearly late. So, yeah, I guess some stories stick, or you guys nudged them. You asked me to, but you can see what happens. You're talking about something and a little light bulb goes, I remember that. And we add a bit more. Yeah.
That's the best. We love those, Sir Nick. Comment down below, guys, as you're watching this, if you like the Sir Nick story tells. Maybe we'll do some episodes of just kind of more like that versus the tournaments. But leave comments down below, guys. Let us know things about this. Yeah, topics, things like this you like, more of the Sir Nick storytell. I could sit here and listen to him all day long. So maybe we'll do more. Yeah, storytell pods. Guys, I think that's good for U.S. Open. We're going to be pumped to watch. Hopefully you guys listening enjoy the U.S. Open. Sir Nick, we appreciate your time. We look forward to talking to you again soon. Donnie, appreciate it. And you guys listening, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.